Hello everyone, welcome to Animestories. Today I'll be recapping the anime named Kakegurui, a story that tells about a private academy that is different from other academies. Whilst other academies educate their students to become good people in the future and help each other, the Hayakawa Academy is a place where students are allowed to gamble after class is over. The students do everything to get money and are willing to make other people broke for their own fun. The story begins with a student named Suzue Ryuta, who is getting major losses in gambling, resulting in him having a debt of 5 million yen to a girl named Sato Mary. Ryuta, not being able to pay the debt, he became Mary's pet, and is now looked down upon by other students. After that, a transfer student entered the class, named Japananime Yumiko. Ryuta was now asked to accompany Yumiko around the academy and explain the rules. Yumiko's face seemed innocent, so Ryuta warned her not to gamble, so she wouldn't become a pet. But the not-so-innocent Yumiko laughed after hearing this. Then when class was over, Mary asked Yumiko to gamble with her, so that she could make Yumiko her pet. Yumiko happily accepts the offer. They will play a game of rock, paper, scissors. They will each get 3 cards written by the student in the class, and put them randomly in the box. In the beginning, Yumiko continues to lose several times to a point where she had lost 1 million yen. Since Mary was always winning, she underestimates Yumiko and thinks of her as a fool. Yumiko suddenly bets 10 million, which surprises everyone. Not only that, Yumiko already knows that all the students there have helped Mary by drawing cards according to her wishes. Despite being in a losing situation, Yumiko is horny for money. With a high level of luck, Yumiko managed to beat Mary. As a result, Mary owed 8 million yen because she couldn't afford to pay up and became frustrated since she now also had the status of a pet. After that, Yumiko felt that Ryuta was a good person and gave him 5 million yen so that Ryuta could be freed from pet status. The next day after her defeat, Mary is bullied by her class students and treated like a pet cat. Ryuta explains that the pet rule has existed since a woman named Mamabami Karari became student council president. Knowing Karari's prowess can win the student council seat in a short time, making Yumiko excited to gamble with her. Then a student council member approached them, named Itsuki, whose family owned a toy company. Itsuki invites Yumiko to play double cards. Of course, Yumiko accepts the invitation because she likes playing cards. The game is a double card, where the player must open each card and remember the card's location so that they can match 2 cards. They also made a bet of 20 million yen. Yumiko doesn't have that much, so Itsuki will lend Yumiko 20 million yen without interest. When the first round started, Yumiko was defeated because Itsuki had the upper hand in equalizing her cards. Now Yumiko owes 20 million yen, which sends Ryuta in panic. Meanwhile, Yumiko requests a rematch, but Itsuki asks her to bet her fingernails if she loses the game again. It turns out that Itsuki has a crazy hobby collecting the fingernails of opponents she has defeated. However, Yumiko managed to win a landslide with just 1 turn to match all the cards in the first round. Yumiko analyzes the card and confirms that Itsuki has played cheating. On the back of the card are hidden markings that are hard to spot, but Yumiko surpasses the human limit and remembers all the marking patterns in one play. After that, Yumiko returned to challenge Itsuki by betting their nails. But Itsuki was frightened when he saw Yumiko's crazy behavior. Itsuki was so scared that she peed in her pants and cried. There. After the defeat, Itsuki was expelled from the student council group. Not only that, the student council members became interested in Yumiko. On the other hand, Marie challenged a student council member named Yuriko. Mary challenged her because there was a rule that pets had a chance to give up their status by playing against student council members. However, there was only one chance. If she lost, she would become a pet until she graduated from school. Mary, who hoped to win, had bad luck because she suffered a loss and her debt reached 50 million yen. So her mental health had reached the limit and she fell into despair. After seeing Mary lose, Yumiko is even more excited to play with Yuriko. The game they play is life or death, and they bet 40 million yen on the game. At the beginning of the game, it ends in a draw. But Yumiko discovers Yuriko is cunning and cheating. Previously, Yuriko gave hope to a weak human, then beat her so badly that she fell into despair. So Yumiko is very insulting and demeaning to Yuriko. Of course, Yuriko got carried away with emotion and Yumiko risked all of her chips worth 40 million yen. When Yuriko divided her chips into 5 places, Yumiko put all her chips in one place, which is where Yumiko already knows that the dealer there uses a magnet to move the sword in the cup. Of course, if Yumiko wins, then Yuriko will have a very large debt, because the results of the winning bet will be multiplied and the loser must pay it. When Yuriko wanted to stop the game, the student council president came to meet them and forced Yuriko to continue playing. It turned out that the results of the game Yuriko was very lucky to win, while Yumiko lost and owed 310 million yen. As a result, Yumiko's status changed to that of a pet the next day, even though the students in the class laughed at it. Yumiko was even more excited and played herself as a cat. When the students discover that Yumiko has become a pet, a rogue student named Chiyoatari tries to find opportunities to play tricks on Yumiko. Chiyoatari immediately took Yumiko to a deserted place and wanted Yumiko to show her beautiful body there. But a student council member named Midori came to meet them. Seeing Midori's behavior was so crazy that Kayatari lost his passion and decided to leave there. On the other hand, Mary is increasingly cornered because her life plan has been arranged by the student council, which is to marry an older man and have children with him. Of course, Mary would be annoyed if her life was arranged arbitrarily by the student council to get out of control of the student council. He must pay off his debt before graduating from school. After that, the student council secretary Sayaka held a debt settlement game for all pets. They were divided into several groups. Coincidentally, Mary was in the same group as Yumiko when the game started. Their opponents were quiet, Ari and his partner. So, Bomi Hiatari took part because he wanted to get more money if he managed to win, even though there was a risk of becoming a pet later. Then they played 2 Indian poker cards at the beginning of the game. Kueatari is very dominating to the extent that Kueatari demeans Mary and Yumiko. However, Mary certainly doesn't want to stay silent and makes fun of Atari until he gets annoyed after that incident. Kueari felt uneasy and even Yumiko found out that Kueatari and Bomi had worked together because of that. They also cooperate and manipulate, so Bomi to betray Kueatari even though at the end of the game, Kueatari is still sure to win. It turns out that Yumiko and Mary exchange debts to trick him and hide their chip value. So Mary is in first place, Tsubomi in second, Yumiko in third, and Kueatari in fourth. In the end, Kueatari officially became a pig or pet with a total debt of 310 million, while Mary and Yumiko earned 260 million thanks to the victory in the game. After all, their relationship became closer and friends. But Yumiko is still a pet, and it turns out that Yumiko's goal is to use her pet status to challenge the student council president in a gambling game later. Then the student council succeeded in investigating Yumeko's background, and it was revealed that Yumeko had a lot of wealth, but it was all collected independently without the help of her family. She has an older sister who is sick and being treated at the hospital. She was folding money into origami, as if it had no value because of too much money. Then Yumiko and Ryota were forcibly kidnapped by Midori and taken to a place where Midori wanted to play a very crazy game with Yumiko because both have crazy minds. They play the death game with each other. While Ryota becomes the dealer in the death game, they are asked to match the cards arranged by Ryota in 3 rounds. If they win, they can take a gun with random bullets. In the first round, Midori managed to win and immediately aimed the gun at Yumiko. It turned out that the gun belonged to Yumiko and had no bullets. Then continued to the second round. Yumiko managed to win. Yumiko also looked for a weapon that weighed less because lighter guns had no bullets, so Midori would not die in the game. Then, the third round ended in a draw which matched Yumeko's expectations from the start of the game. Yumiko still has a human side trying to explain that Midori's actions are ridiculous and it's not a gambling game. But Midori wants to die. Listening to Yumiko words made Midori sweat until it leaked. Maybe she found a new hobby after that. When my diary remembered the look in Yumiko's eyes, he felt horny and always stopped by the toilet to play some water. On the other hand, Kira meets Mary and asks her to join the student council because she has managed to earn hundreds of millions before. Even though Kira had forced her to join, Mary refused because she didn't like Herrera's nature, which greatly demeaned other students. Then the student council president will leave the academy for a while because there was a business outside. Of course, the student council president's departure makes the members go out of control. The student council treasurer Kadid and the idol Yumi intend to defeat Yumiko. On the other hand, Itsuki meets the 3 of them there and wants to join their friendship group instead. Itsuki will support Yumiko if she needs help fighting as student council members. Later after that, Yumi invited Yumiko to come to her place. Yumi explained that she wanted to make Yumiko an idol with her. If Yumiko lost the gambling game, Yumi intends to make Yumiko an idol and debut in an adult film. Yumiko also accepts this and is already preparing for the recording. It turns out that Yumi has a secret, that is, she hates her fans. She even feels disgusted when shaking hands with them. But Yumiko records all the conversations so Yumi can bet on her career as an idol in the gambling game later. When the game is about to start, Yumiko dresses up like an idol and goes on stage with Yumi. They must show their charms as idols to win the viewers' hearts. After going through various games and still balancing, Yumiko started to get serious about ending the game. Then they were asked to guess Mary's birthday. Of course, Yumi didn't know it. Even if she lost in this round, the previous record would be played. There. In the end, Yumiko manages to beat her in the game, and then Yumi's colleagues try negotiating with her to get rid of the tape. But Yumi decided to play and risked his career as an idol. When Yumi was prepared that her dream as an idol would be destroyed, it turned out that the fans there were true fans. They still support Yumi and don't care if Yumi belittles them more, feels disgusted with them. Of course, it makes Yumi feel happy to have fans who always support her. In the end, they both do duo to enliven the event. After all that, Yumi explained that didn't wanted to bring down Yumi by using Yumiko. Because of that, Yumiko wants to find the culprit. Yumi also ensures that the culprit is Cade, who pretends to cooperate even though he wants to destroy you. Ma'am, however, they couldn't prove Cade's actions. So you may go challenge T to play gamble with her. There Yumiko uses its status as a pet to challenge the student council members. And the student council cannot refuse the challenge. Then Cade has no choice but to accept the challenge from Yumiko, who will be the referee in their match, the vice president of the student council named Rebecca. They will be playing choice poker at no limit bet, since Cade is a subsidiary of the National Finance Agency. Of course, he has a lot of money. Even the highest bet holder is free to determine a strong card or a weak card as a winner. You can be sure that Cade is very favored in the game. He prepared 100 chips worth 1 billion, while Yumiko only prepared 31 chips when the game started. It was seen that Cade was thinking optimally to predict Yumiko actions, to defeat her decisively, even though in the first round Yumiko won with a total of 41 chips. Cade turned things around and made her lose all of her chips. However, the game is still ongoing because Yumiko asks Itsuki for money and places a bet for her so that Yumiko can continue to game it. Suki also believed and followed Yumiko's crazy wish where Itsuki prepared 100 chips for Yumiko. However, Cade certainly did not remain silent and continued to raise the stakes too, with Suki's financial limit having been cornered and confident of winning with you. Marco's card Itsuki put his whole body and life on the line in the game, which is worth 10 billion. So Yumiko feels horny seeing this madness, but Cade felt that the bet was unreasonable and did not meet the game's rules. After that, Rarick took off her mask. It turned out she was the student council president in disguise there, so Kira made Itsuki's life worth 10 billion and the total bet reached 12 billion. While Cade panicked because going beyond 12 billion was difficult to achieve. If Yumiko gets the right to vote, Yumiko will certainly win because of that. Cade confidently risked everything in her life, bringing the total bet to 13 billion. Of course, the right to vote for cards is in Cade's hands with firm conviction. Cade chose the strong card as the victor. Hearing that made Itsuki look sad, even though he laughed slyly. Instantly, Cade loses badly because you make those cards superior to him. Ultimately, he fainted to the point that his hair turned white, resulting from losing all his wealth in an instant without anything left. The lesson we get is that you should not gamble, otherwise you will end up like this person. Then Kirani became interested in Yumiko and asked her to play with her the next day. They have prepared a place to play where they will be immediately expelled from the academy. 1954, as she loses the game, they will play the Tarot divination card because it only takes 3 rounds to finish the game. So Ryota will open the last card to determine the winners. Fate. The supervisor in the game is a student council member named Runner. At the beginning of the game, Yumiko opens a card worth 1 point, while Kiri opens a card worth 21 points. Of course, Ryota has to open the Fool's card or worth 20 more points. Meanwhile, watching from above, Mary and Suki already knew where the Fool's card was because previously Kiri had marked it with the same blue color as her fingernails. Knowing this, Yoda wanted to take it, but didn't do it because he felt that it was a trap. Then Ryota fights by randomly selecting cards until Yumiko goes crazy seeing Ryota. The game ended in a draw, and they still went to school as usual. And that's the end of the video. So I'll see you in the next video.